Chapter 19, The Modern Fleet, The Story of the Long Life Vehicle, LLV, 1987 to present. If you stand on any street corner in the United States, whether it is a bustling avenue in Manhattan, a quiet cul-de-sac in Arizona, or a rainy lane in Seattle, and you wait long enough, you will see it. It is white. It is boxy. It has a red and blue stripe. It looks like a loaf of bread on wheels. It is the Grumman LLV, Long Life Vehicle. For nearly 40 years, this strange, ugly, reliable machine has been the backdrop of American life. It is so common that it has become invisible. It is part of the scenery like a fire hydrant or a street lamp. But Chapter 19 of our history is a love letter to this humble box. It is the story of how an aircraft company designed a truck that refused to die. It is the story of the most rigorous road test in history, and it is the story of the sensory world inside that aluminum shell. To understand why the LLV exists, we must go back to the mid-1980s. The Postal Service was in a crisis of mobility. For decades, they had relied on the dispatcher, the Jeep DJ-5. As we saw in Chapter 15, the Jeep was a warrior. But by 1985, the Jeep was tired. The Jeeps were rusting, they were prone to tipping over, they were small, and most importantly, the mail was changing. The volume of parcels was growing. The carrier needed more room than a Jeep could offer. The USPS decided they didn't want to buy a truck off the lot anymore. They didn't want a modified Ford or a tweaked Chevy. They wanted a vehicle built from the ground up, specifically for the unique torture of delivering mail. They issued a challenge to the industry. They wanted a long-life vehicle. The specs were impossible. The truck had to last for 24 years. A normal commercial truck lasts 5 to 7 years. It had to run for 20 hours a day. It had to start in the Alaskan cold and the Floridian heat. It had to possess a turning radius tight enough to spin in a small driveway. And the body had to be rust-proof. 3 companies entered the arena: General Motors, the titan of Detroit; Praveen, a smaller competitor; Grumman, an aerospace company. Grumman was the wild card. They didn't make cars. They made the F-14 Tomcat jet. They made the Apollo lunar module that landed on the moon. They looked at the mail truck problem not as a car problem, but as an engineering puzzle. They decided to build a fuselage on wheels. The contest culminated in Laredo, Texas in 1985, the Laredo Proving Grounds. This was the torture test. The 3 prototype trucks were loaded with sandbags to simulate mail. They were driven 24,000 miles over the worst roads imaginable. They drove over cobblestones. They drove through mud pits. But the real torture was the stop and go. The trucks had to stop every few hundred feet, idle, and start again. This cycle destroys transmissions. It destroys brakes. At the end of the test, only one vehicle was still standing tall: the Grumman. The USPS placed an order for 99,150 trucks. It was the largest non-military vehicle order in history. The cost was $1.1 billion. The first LLV rolled off the assembly line in Montgomery, Pennsylvania in 1987. Let us examine the anatomy of this iconic machine. The body. Grumman used their aerospace knowledge. The body is not steel. It is corrosion-resistant aluminum alloy. It is riveted together, just like an airplane. This is why you rarely see a rusty mail truck. The chassis might rot, but the skin is immortal. The shape. It is a perfect rectangle. The windshield is angled steeply to shed snow and rain. The nose is short and sloped, allowing the driver to see the ground just a few feet in front of the bumper, crucial for spotting children or pets. The chassis. Underneath the space-age body, the guts are simple. It sits on a modified Chevy S10 pickup truck chassis. The engine is the Iron Duke, a 2.5-liter four-cylinder engine. It is not fast. It was not designed to go over 65 miles per hour. It is a tractor engine designed for torque, not speed. The turning radius. This is the LLV's superpower. The front wheels can turn a sharp 50 degrees. An LLV can pull a U-turn on a standard two-lane street without backing up. It dances around cul-de-sacs. The step. The entrance is low. A carrier enters and exits the vehicle hundreds of times a day. The door slides back, disappearing into the wall. It does not swing out into traffic. But to truly understand the LLV, you must sit in the driver's seat. Let us step inside a mail truck on a Tuesday in July. The first thing you notice is the noise. The LLV has almost no insulation. It is a tin can. When you turn the key, the Iron Duke engine roars to life with a coarse agricultural vibration. The whole truck shakes. As you drive, the aluminum panels rattle, the trays of mail rattle, the keys on your belt rattle. It is a symphony of metal. The second thing you notice is the view. You are sitting on the right side. This feels wrong at first. You are on the curb, but the visibility is incredible. You are surrounded by glass. And then there are the mirrors. There are 7 mirrors. There are the big side mirrors. There are the convex pot lid mirrors that show you the blind spots. There is the rear cross-view mirror. A skilled carrier uses these mirrors like a fighter pilot. They can see the back bumper. They can see the front tire. They can see the mailbox. The third thing you notice, and this is the defining memory for every carrier, is the temperature. The LLV has no air conditioning, none. There is a small fan mounted on the dashboard. It moves the hot air around. In the summer, the aluminum body acts like a convection oven. The transmission tunnel, which runs right next to the driver's leg, gets hot enough to cook an egg. Thermometers left inside LLVs in Arizona have read 130, 140, even 150 degrees Fahrenheit. The carrier drives with the door open, praying for a breeze. They drink gallons of water. They wrap wet towels around their necks. The LLV is a sweat box. In the winter, it is the opposite. It is an ice box. The heater is notoriously weak. The sliding doors are drafty. The aluminum sucks the heat out. Carriers wear layers of wool, fingerless gloves, and heavy boots, shivering as they steer. And yet, despite the discomfort, there is a deep affection for this machine. The LLV is simple. It has no computer screen, it has no GPS, it has no anti-lock brakes in the early models, it has no airbags. It is a mechanical tool. If it breaks down, it can be fixed with a wrench and a hammer. The parts are cheap. The mechanics at the Vehicle Maintenance Facility, VMF, can keep an LLV running almost indefinitely. This durability is why the name Long Life Vehicle was not a lie. They were designed to last 24 years. Most of them now are over 30 years old. Some are pushing 35. They have driven billions of miles. They have outlasted the careers of the people who first drove them. The LLV became the visual identity of the Postal Service. In the 1990s and 2000s, the white truck replaced the Pony Express rider as the symbol of the mail. It appeared in movies. Whenever a director wanted to establish a quiet suburban morning, they put an LLV in the background. Click, whir, the sound of the door sliding, the sound of the engine idling. It meant normalcy. Let us observe the workflow of the LLV. The carrier loads it at the dock. The back door rolls up like a garage door. The cargo space is surprisingly vast. It holds trays of letters, sacks of parcels, bundles of magazines. The carrier organizes the truck like a puzzle. First loop in the front, second loop in the back. Parcels are marked with numbers and stacked on the shelves. The carrier drives to the route. He pulls up to a curb line box. He does not stop the engine. He brakes. His right hand reaches into the tray. He grabs the mail for 204 Oak Street. His left hand is on the wheel. He leans out the open window. He stuffs the box. He hits the gas. He travels 40 feet. He brakes. 206 Oak Street. This rhythm, gas, brake, reach, stuff, is the heartbeat of the suburbs. The LLV was built for exactly this motion. But time is cruel, even to aluminum. As the 2010s rolled around, the fleet began to show its age. The chassis were cracking from millions of potholes, the wiring was fraying, and most alarmingly, they started to catch fire. The thermal events, as the USPS calls them, became a serious problem. The old fuel lines would leak on the hot engine block. The windshield washer fluid would drip on electrical shorts. Hundreds of LLVs burned on the side of the road. Pictures of the melted skeletons of mail trucks became viral on the internet. The carriers kept driving them. They did their pre-trip inspections. They checked for smells. They carried fire extinguishers. The Postal Service knew the end was near. The LLV was a hero, but it was a geriatric hero. It lacked modern safety features. It got terrible gas mileage, about 9 to 10 miles per gallon. It was polluting. In 2015, the search for a replacement began, the NGDV program. Once again, prototypes were built. Once again, they were tested. And in 2021, the winner was announced, Oshkosh Defense. The new truck is coming. It looks different. It has a massive windshield. It looks like a duck. It has air conditioning, finally. It has airbags. It has 360-degree cameras. Many of them will be electric. But as of today, the LLV is still the king of the road. There are still over 100,000 of them in service. They are the survivors. Let us close this chapter with a moment of appreciation for this machine. Imagine a snowy evening in Minnesota. The roads are unplowed. The wind is howling. Most cars are in their garages. But down the street comes the white box. It has chains on its rear tires. Clank, clank, clank. The single headlight cuts through the swirl of white. The wiper blade struggles against the ice. Inside, the carrier is freezing, but the engine is humming that steady, tractor-like drone. The truck climbs the hill. It does not slide. It finds traction where there is none. It pulls up to the mailbox. The gloved hand reaches out. The letter is delivered. The Grumman LLV is not beautiful. It is not comfortable. It is loud, hot, and smelly, but it is faithful. It is the donkey of the digital age. It carries the Amazon packages, the medicines, the ballots, and the birthday cards. It asks for nothing but gasoline and oil. Someday soon, the last LLV will be retired. It will be crushed into a cube of scrap aluminum or perhaps put in a museum. We will miss the sound of its rattle. We will miss its goofy, boxy shape. But tonight, it is resting in the parking lot of the post office. Rows and rows of them parked bumper to bumper, silent in the moonlight. Their mirrors are folded in like sleeping birds. They are waiting for the morning. They are waiting for the mail.